Hags. Infamous monsters with deeply rooted lore, whose very mention can strike fear into the hearts of tabletop gamers and mischievous children alike. From the Slavic Baba Yaga to the Greek Maori, the fear of these ambiguous entities first started in Anglo-European cultures before eventually making its first appearance in original D&D in 1975. They're personally some of my favorite monsters to use in D&D because of their versatile use and the monkey's paw aspect to their magical motivation. Whether you're writing in a Freddy Krueger night hag, entering dreams to kill and probably eat children, or a full-bodied sea hag with a deep passion for humanoid suffering, it is compelling, it is interesting, and most importantly, it will fuck over your players in a way that is so sickeningly delicious that I'm practically salivating at the concept alone. But I'm a nice DM. I don't want to kill my players or steal their children and eat them whole. I want to frustrate them. I want to add monsters so memorable and annoying that my friends look back on our sessions and just think to themselves, why? But I'm not creative enough to make anything that original. Luckily, reality is stranger than fiction. I don't have to write a plot, I just have to look for the parallels. And so today, I present to you all the world is full of monsters. Not fictional monsters hiding under your childhood bed or metaphorical ones that serve as an allegory for mental illness. Real monsters. And so it was, just as winter was beginning to wrap its isolating fingers around a small, quiet village, one such real monster was born. Any humanoids unfortunate enough to be around that night will recall the way the stench from the bog seemed to be amplified. But the true disgust of that night happened just off the beaten path. In a small cottage, under the cover of darkness, the image of a mother screaming in pain as she pushes out a bundle of joy is replaced. Instead, a crooked smile filled with black teeth presents its evil spawn to a shackled and shaking man, his piss-stained pants matching the piss-yellow skin of his new, undesired child. Hags may appear as decrepit old crones, but their withered frames and stringy hair serve as metronomes for the true strength and swiftness that lies just under the surface. At least in their true form. All hags have the innate magic ability to change their appearance. Magical Facetune, if you will. After all, it can be hard to lure innocence into your basement when you look like complete shit. And I know some of you are thinking to yourself, but hags are always female, and like, settle down, let's not take this too seriously. Also, although it's true that hags are always female, through the magical power of physical lovemaking, a human and a hag can create a male hag, called a hag spawn. Hag spawns are described as being brutish human men with long, dark hair and eyes full of contempt. Their tall frames are underplayed by their hunched posture. So, sure, there are some cosmetic differences between these subraces, but they still have the same goals, the same innate desire to corrupt beauty and sow the seeds of chaos in the world around them. But come on, Greg isn't a hag, he's a human. It isn't like Onision has some weird desire to make the world around him as ugly as his true form, right?
You told me to get a tattoo saying I'm a liar, like a tramp stamp. You told me to shave my head. You told me to dye my hair green, shave off my eyebrows, and get an ugly tan.
Oh, well, it's not like he's acting like he's disfiguring others in the guise of helping them.
You have a very big face. It's very facelicious. I'll say 6 out of 10. We got another 6 out of 10. This person freaks me out.
Okay, alright. But hags aren't only interested in defiling human beauty. In old Irish and Scottish folklore, the Calichan, or storm hag, is seen as the hag goddess of personified elemental destruction. They embody the natural disasters and barren lands that surround them. And I'm not shitting you. In December of 2018, Onision settled out of court after his neighbors reported him for destroying 1.5 acres of wetland around his property.
But not only does he do that, he starts clearing out trees and just everything, and just starts demolishing through a bunch of stuff. And then not only does he do that, he also starts dumping a lot of the stuff he's clearing out into that wetland water source.
And while we're on that subject, hags can be found off the beaten path, deep within forests, or in wetlands, swamps, bogs, and marshes. The perfect backdrop for any hag to plot their devious plans. And perhaps they prefer these kind of dark, isolated landscapes because it reminds them of home. The feywild, a parallel, sister plane of existence to our prime universe. a mirror world to some degree, created by primordials, which are elemental gods, but they're not gods, but kind of. I don't understand. The Feywild was meant to be a universe that took the best parts of the Prime World and the Shadowfell, but with even more natural arcane magics, partially due to the magical creatures that spawned there. Hags, much like their Fey peers, draw upon the innate Fey magics to weave mortal misfortunes. But they're not like other Fays, alright? They're different. Their magic is so powerful, it's practically a middle finger to the very gods they refuse to acknowledge. Because fuck the gods. They are gods. Though, there is at least one thing that they do believe in. Omne trium perfectum, or everything that comes in three is perfect and complete. So despite their natural arrogance, a hag's self-importance comes second to their need for power. And truly powerful hags come in triads. Or in this case, an open relationship. Though, some hags are better at forging these powerful bonds than others. Cause after all, a hag's disdain for living creatures extends even beyond mortals and immortals, because hags also hate other hags. The world is full of mysteries. Not fictional mysteries where you can see dead people, or metaphorical mysteries that cover up the truth. Real mysteries. And so it was, on a night that was unusually hot for autumn, one such real mystery was born. Despite the highly populated downtown in which the family lived, no one saw the kidnapping or the sudden and unexpected return of the infant child. What the neighbors remember most was the sudden scream that erupted from next door as the grieving mother opened her door to find a baby in a basket. The image of a grieving mother, her will to live fading, was replaced by the image of a happy family rejoicing over their renewed faith. It was a miracle, or so they thought. It wasn't until the child's 13th birthday that the true horror of what had happened during that mysterious week would manifest.
So I have a problem where I destroy the
No, this is not where we're going with this at all. That's literally the only reason for you.
No!
Bye.
Of course not, but it's the funniest thing to say, and I am very funny. Need extra people to clean the house. Right, so when you're in a poly relationship, you're asking for, in most cases, the destruction of your own relationship, the destruction of the poly relationship, and the urge to end your own existence. So,
there exists, within the Hag Society, a divination magic comparable to, I guess in this metaphor, let's say Tinder. It isn't out of bounds to say that every hag in existence knows about every other hag in existence. And once a coven is created, so too can a hag's magnum opus, a hag's eye. Made of a real humanoid eye, varnished and adorned to jewelry, a hag's eye is like a camera. With it, one can spy on the world at large from the comfort of their own swamp. But it takes 3 and a hellish ritual, something our monsters haven't been able to achieve. But what if there was a way to get a hag's eye without a coven? Well, the world is full of mothers. Not fictional other mothers or metaphorical ones like the earth or the moon. Real mothers. And so it was, in the same small cottage, one such real mother lived. A hag, her 2 daughters, and a monstrous son, a boy born less conventionally and loved even lesser. A coven was made and a jealousy was formed. He'd be left to make his own coven, but his efforts seemed fruitless until, one night, under the ambiance of rain, a mother was robbed again, though not of her children. No. That night, the comic relief was replaced. Instead, a duo, their fingers still sticky and red, run down the path and away from the home they'd known for so long. They'd begin their own coven, free from the restrictions of omne trium perfectum. However, the magical properties from the hag's eye was not completely lost, and it wasn't until years later, when the youth of the nearby village began acting out, that the real plot hook begins. Teenagers, robbed of their esteem, gone all night in their rooms, their time preoccupied with staring into compact mirrors before eventually disappearing. Not kidnapped, though, no. Run away. Though it was mostly written off at first, some began to talk of a channel, a mysterious broadcast, and later, rumors of a cult, though the reality was a lot stranger.
I'm a banana, I'm a banana, I'm a banana, look at me!
And so, in conclusion, A hag's magic isn't only limited to tricks disguised as treats. In fact, a hag's true magical arsenal usually comes in the form of magical items. Monkey's paw, remember? So, I leave you with this. Runaway teenagers wearing magical items, wearing berets that make their hair beautiful and perfect but cause them to be indoctrined into cult-like figures, wearing a bracelet that makes them skinny but now they have like an eating disorder, or like a perfume that makes boys like you, but